My inability to be of one mind, that there's a part of me which goes into all my life's work that's really big on our being these evolved creatures, these essentially animals that emerged through the evolutionary process, where uh, generations turn over and different varieties uh, get to put their DNA into the future, and that's how things evolve. Uh, all very earthy and factual and in touch with the basic realities of that science has shown about us. But there's another part of me which is somehow can't entirely wrap my mind around uh, that same set of dimensions of reality. Uh, take uh, the matter of death. Uh, I'm not the only one who, there's a book called The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker, which I recommend. He may overstate the case, but um, I, as I get older, I realize how challenging it is for me to wrap my mind around my temporariness. Well, of course, if I'm a creature that emerged out of this evolutionary process, over from the cells and the multicellular organisms and the mammals and the primates and all that stuff, of course I'm going to be temporary. I mean, how could it be otherwise? I thought the other day, in terms of the stunning universality, uh, I find it stunning to think that there's not a human being alive on the planet right now who was alive at the turn of the century when went from the 19th to the 20th century in 1900. You'd have to be 124. I don't think anybody's ever gone quite that far. Uh, it's not my own death, actually, that I have trouble really grasping. It's pretty much everybody's. I watch old movies, and I just watched The Quiet Man, for example, with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara, and they're both such fine specimens. Uh, very manly man and a very beautiful, womanly woman. They're both dead. In fact, John Wayne's been dead for quite a while. I mean, wherever you look, if you connect with somebody whose humanity you either in your personal relationships, like what a huge adjustment it is when a parent dies. Somebody who had loomed over your personal landscape so large, like Mount Rainier in Washington or something like that, looming over all those square miles. All of a sudden, it's gone. That's hard for me to understand too. So I have real trouble putting those things together. And now, as I'm in my later 70s. I'm having to confront realities that were always there to consider, but are not so far off anymore. In addition, even though my own deterioration is not particularly scary yet at this point, I've grown old with a lot of people who've been in my life for a long time. And a lot of those people are showing that what we human beings are. We're temporary creatures, temporary aggregations of matter and energy, beings that get to experience our existence for a while, but come out of a timeless past of non-existence and to pass into a unending time of non-existence. Very, very hard for me to grasp that, even though um, it follows from the center of the thinking I've been doing my whole adult life. I'm doing in this mission, and I do on my website, a betterhumanstory.org. It's all in an evolutionary perspective, and it's all got to do with how we are creatures who have evolved. And anyway, uh, I try to conceptualize how we can know something and not know something at the same time. And I haven't, I'm not, I don't have a great deal of progress to report on that question. How to conceptualize that I both really know and can't accept, deny basically. Uh, at some level, there's difficulty believing creatures like Cary Grant and Deborah Carr could make that movie that the woman cries over in Sleepless in Seattle, and, and then pass away into irretrievable past. And sex is sort of like that too. Um, I don't know how much I'm speaking just for myself, uh, which would be embarrassing. But I grew up in an era where the reality of sex was kind of denied in as much as was practical. I mean, the fact that we lived in bodies at all actually was, um, if they're selling a laxative, they'll use the word constipation because you got or irregularity, becomes the euphemism. Let's not, and then to go with that, you need toilet tissue or whatever, bathroom tissue. Um, and when it gets specifically to, and when it gets specifically to the sexual dimension of our human reality, um, we've got this number one family TV show about an American family, Ozzie and Harriet, whose claim to fame, and now since the country loosened up so, is that the TV couldn't show them sharing a double or queen size bed. They had to have these two twin beds, sleeping apart. And we have come a long way with that. And I wonder how much my own uh, struggles to integrate all these kinds of things into uh, our thinking, how much that's got to do with me, or how much it's got to do with my generation that came in the 50s, or if people are still struggling to recognize that we are all sexual beings. And here's the stunning universality thing that I point to in this category. In addition to the idea that, we got 8 billion people on the planet, not one of them was alive at the turn of the century, 124 years ago. Here, what we can say is every one of us has ancestors, all of whom had sex lives. We got 2 parents. Here we are. Proof. We had 4 grandparents. Here we are. Our parents were. Proof. 8 grandparents. 8 great grandparents, 16 great great grandparents. And we're only back. Where are we back to? If you're going to talk about, the universality of sex, it doesn't take long before you get to 2 to the nth power, and it's huge. The guy who asked the king to give, who the king said, "You can have anything you want," and he said, "Okay, put 1 grain of sand of wheat on the first checkerboard, 64 squares. So it's going to be 2 to the 64th. Every square starts with 1, then 2, then 4, then 8. Every square doubles. 2 to the 64th. Even before they get there, it's more numerous than all the grains of sand on all the beaches of the world, or something like that. I haven't done the math, but it's like what? It wasn't the modest request the king had assumed. So we've got generations and generations and generations going back. And the only reason that we're here is that every single one of them had a sex life. And so that's a whole lot for a culture to sort of try to sweep under. What is it is sweeping under? But I'm aware of there's a part of me that is still integrating everything. And I don't know how, as I said, I don't know how widespread the challenge is to realize that everybody's naked under their clothes, that we all got bodies, that we're all sexual creatures, that we're all going to die. But all of that is really quite obviously part of the reality. And I laugh at myself that I have to work at integrating that reality into my sort of intuitive sense of things. And that's all I got to say on this round. I may be back with more. I'm Andy Schmuckler. My mission is to get my Better Human Story out. This is really what I hope was an enjoyable little excursion that was not unrelated, but pretty unrelated. And I encourage you to, if you want to help me get this Better Human Story out, that you go take a look and see what I've shown about how to see ourselves more truly, how to see our nature, the meaning of our history, and the nature of the challenge that we have to meet if our species, this human civilization, is going to survive on this planet and not destroy itself. Well, thank you. Bye-bye.